Other voices. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s very dangerous crusade. South Florida Sun Sentinel. No independent candidate has been elected president or even come close, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. won't be the first. His chances are nearly zero, but he could make the difference in who wins. The role of spoiler must be irresistible to someone with so much ego, resentment and crackpot ideas. That makes him dangerous to a country that can't afford another election won by someone who loses the popular vote, or could even be decided by a dysfunctional House of Representatives, which is worse. The anachronistic Electoral College encourages meddling by third-party contenders like RFK Jr., Cornel West or the No Labels organization that threatens to run a hand-picked slate. Despite widespread voter dissatisfaction with the prospect of a round two between President Joe Biden and Donald Trump, both are virtually assured of being their party's nominees next year. Both also have good reason to worry about alternatives, especially RFK Jr. Kennedy shares a name and little else with his fiercely liberal father, former Attorney General and Senator Robert F. Bobby Kennedy, a champion of racial justice and the poor who was assassinated in 1968. The Democratic fear has been that Jr. would siphon enough votes away from Biden in battleground states to throw the electoral majority to Trump. But now that he's chosen to run as an independent, some polls suggest Kennedy could hurt Trump more because of his right-wing positions on gun control, vaccines and aid to Ukraine. He's a lot more popular with Republicans than with Democrats, says the election site 538. The Republican National Committee greeted Kennedy's strategic swerve from Democrat to independent with a long list of objections to his environmental policies. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than as if blind to the obvious irony. The RNC also called him a conspiracy theorist who made stolen election claims when George W. Bush won the White House. Sign up for newsletters. Email select newsletters to sign up for news updates, breaking news, Sports Digest, obituaries and death notices. Submit before Kennedy's switch. Republicans praised him. Much of his campaign money bore Republican fingerprints. The GOP hoped he would weaken Biden in the primaries, as his uncle, Ted Kennedy, did to President Jimmy Carter in 1980. From the Democratic side, Robert Reich, a liberal professor who was President Bill Clinton's Secretary of Labor, is calling RFK Jr. a dangerous, right-wing nutcase. Kennedy has implied that the COVID-19 virus was targeted to spare Jewish and Chinese people. The last time a famous name disrupted an election, former President Theodore Roosevelt ran independently in 1912 against his former protege William Howard Taft after failing to win the GOP nomination. Still popular, he carried 8 states and 27% of the popular vote, but won only 88 electoral votes to Democrat Woodrow Wilson's 435. If no candidate gets a majority in the Electoral College, the decision is thrown to the U.S. House, where each state has 1 vote. In 1968, Democrats controlled 26 delegations and could have awarded the presidency to Hubert Humphrey, despite Nixon's 7 million vote plurality. In the famously close 2000 election, independent Ralph Nader got less than 3%, but more than enough of those votes were cast in Florida to tip the balance to George W. Bush. In 2016, Libertarian and Green Party candidates arguably cost Hillary Clinton enough votes in key states to help Trump win, despite him losing the popular vote. Significantly, Nader is not running again and said he would do nothing that could indirectly help elect Trump. In a modern, fully representative system, the popular vote would decide the presidency. Voting would be by ranked choice, so people could vote as they want without fear of their first choice helping to elect a candidate they dislike most. The current reality is that voting for a candidate who can't possibly win helps elect someone else, but voters won't know who until it's too late. That's why voters should reject Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Therefore, since we also have such a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let's rid ourselves of every obstacle and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let's run with endurance the race that is set before us. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1.